Hey guys, you're listening to the Teens for the Nation podcast. Let's get right into this. Hey guys, welcome back to the Teens for the Nation podcast with your host, Cade McLemore, and your co-host,
Thomas.
And today we are bringing you a very special guest and a dear friend of ours,
Alex Chapin.
Yes, sir, Mr. Alex Chapin. We're going to go ahead and start this off pretty funny, as we always do, with the good old classic icebreaker. You want to go hit us, Thomas?
Yeah. All right. What is your favorite football team and why?
Favorite football team and why? Well, I'm personally an NFL person, not as much toward the college side, just never really got into it as much. But I am a diehard New Orleans Saints fan, for sure. Grew up in Louisiana for pretty much my entire childhood, and me and my dad were total Saints fans until we moved to here, to where we are now. And then my dad, and actually my whole family, jumped on the Houston Texans train when C.J. Stroud and all them started coming up. So I'm the only one that is a Saints fan anymore. So it's like a house divided, especially when they play each other. So it's diehard Saints fan.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Thomas?
Well, unfortunately, I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan.
Oh, no!
What Dallas Cowgirls would they would say.
Yeah, there
Dallas
you go.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
I had a whole door wreath of Dallas Cowboys. I had a pacifier. I had a baby bottle.
Goodness.
Every single thing, you name it. Dallas Cowboys.
Oh, that's crazy. Well, I grew up with a college football team that I had baby bottles and blankets, and I may have a few things in my room you may have already seen. I'm an LSU fan.
Let's go! Yes, sir! Yes, sir! Yes, sir!
I grew up an LSU fan. It was every time it was on, I had to be in the living room watching the LSU.
Yes.
Now, if I had to pick an NFL team, I'm probably going to lean towards the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, that's all people.
I do kind of bandwagon, unfortunately, and people hate me. I do switch from the Chiefs.
Yes. Yes.
And when they're winning,
Yes.
I'm a Saints fan.
Yes. Okay. I see how it is. Only when they're winning. So Dallas Cowboys, Kansas City Chiefs with Taylor Swift, and New Orleans Saints.
Oh heck no! It's not because of Taylor Swift. It's all Patrick Mahomes.
Yes,
it has nothing to do with Taylor Swift.
Oh yeah.
But anywho, well, let's go ahead and get right into this. I like to throw in this spontaneous question. What was your experience on meeting Jesus for the first time, or when did you come to him or come back to him?
Well, I have grown up always in the ministry. My family has been in the church. It has been God, Jesus, family faith since day one. Like, I've grown up knowing Jesus, knowing about Jesus, and honestly, I thought he was the normal thing. Like, when I grew up, like, there was so much of faith instilled within me and my home when I was growing up. I just thought it was something natural, and I remember that when I was about 8 or 9, and I heard, last guest Noah talking about this on the last podcast as well, but, we all have this thing where we go through, and, when we're a kid, 8 or 9 years old, we get saved or whatever, do the whole baptism thing. I just got saved, I asked Jesus to be my Lord and Savior when I was about 8 or 9 years old, but it wasn't until I was, I think it was 13, could have been 14, I got baptized for the first time. That's really kind of when the shift kind of started, to where I was like, okay, this is no longer my parents' faith, this is my personal faith, this is my life to live out, my walk with the Lord, and that's kind of how it's been for me. I never have really fully turned away. Obviously, none of us are perfect. We hit spots in our life where things are harder, things are easier, but pretty much I have always known of Jesus, always, quote, followed Jesus, and that's kind of my story with coming to the faith. So,
yeah, I really like it. To be honest, I try not to talk about me a whole lot, but it's the same way with me.
Yeah.
I've grown up in the church, 16 years at Community.
Yeah.
I think that happens to a lot of us, to where we think that, okay, your grandmother's taking you to church, your mom's taking you to church, but it's my decision.
Yeah.
I need to make the decision. And I think that's one of the biggest things that you learn eventually, some way down the road, going to church. Well, since the series that we're doing is called The Called, or The Calling, whatever I've decided to title it, what is your calling?
My calling, I believe right now, is heavily involved with music stuff. So, definitely, probably more leaning towards the artist side of things, Christian touring artist someday down the road. I also have a thing in my heart to someday open my own record company to be able to help smaller artists who are unknown, kind of like myself, that are unknown right now. They're just under the radar, but you don't want to kind of get swept into the whole the record label thing of like, okay, so we're gonna give you these amount of songs, you have to sing them, you have to do everything our way, kind of a thing, to where they can just get out and we pump their music and it's the artist way kind of a thing. And just be able to really help the artist. But I mean, that's one part of my life, or my calling, I believe, that's going to be going on later in my life, probably when I'm 20, 30, something like that, a little bit ways down the road. But for right now, I believe it's worship, it's making music, producing music, writing songs, all that fun stuff, and also leading worship at my church, Sundays and Wednesdays both. I'm a worship leader there as well. And right now, music has just been a big part of my life. So
that's awesome.
Yes, sir.
Obviously, it seems like we're in a time where in the podcast where we have a bunch of musicians.
Yes.
Who knows? Maybe the next one will be a musician. I don't know yet. But how do you know, or when did you know that you were called?
It's kind of a funny story. And I haven't told many people this because it could be a little controversial on some ways that you could hear it, but it was actually the first For King and Country concert that I ever went to. And it was one of those moments to where I started praying about it once I came home, because I was like, I saw it, and I'd never been to like a real full-blown concert before, and that was my first ever one. I was like, oh my goodness, I love this. I love what they're doing. I love that they're spreading the gospel through music. And when I came home, I started praying about it for a couple weeks. I was like, God, is this something you want me to do? It was never one of those things that was like a full yes that I heard from the Lord, or I really felt, but it was definitely not a no either. So I was like, okay, we're just going to keep this in the hopper. I'll start incorporating it into my life, and we'll see how it goes. And what the main reason how I knew that this was the Lord's directing and calling on my life was the door started opening up. Opportunities started happening that only God could open, and stuff like that, to be able and help inspire music within me, to be able to make music for the Lord, because I'm a person, I'm very controversial against the world when it comes to this, but like, I'm one of those people I keep secular music out of my life, like pretty much at most cost. Not that I think that it's wrong or it's sinful, because I know so many people listen to secular music, and like, as long as there's no cursing or there's no denying Jesus or God or involved with that, like, I think it's fine. And of course, I listen to Christmas music, like, that's a little bit different for me, but that's kind of a different category in all on itself. But I mean, I'm huge with Christian music, and I really feel like it's been open doors, and now that I've gotten further down the road, I can definitely see where the Lord has spoken to me before about it, or I've seen it happen, like, even since I was a kid. Like, up until I was about 13 when I went to that King Country concert, I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. Yeah. But now looking back, like, we've seen pictures and, like, things from me that my mom's told me about. Like, here was you with a guitar at the age of, like, 3, and you were singing and you were putting on our concert in front of our family at some point, like, just for fun. Like, and you did it multiple times. So it's like little things like that have added up over time that I never even saw, which I feel like adds up enough to, I can see the Lord's calling in his hand in it. And especially now that I'm here and I've really been studying, getting to know the Lord and stuff, especially recently in these past years, I've really been able to sense that he has a calling for music on my life. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really awesome.
How long did it take you to get equipped for your calling?
How long did it take me to get equipped for my calling? Well, like I just mentioned, I had basically no musical bone within me up until I was about, oh man, I want to say I was about 7, and then my mom got me doing these piano lessons. I think it was these online piano lessons. We had a keyboard, and as funny as it was, I heard Noah's story last week as well. It's kind of same story. I ended up hating it. In fact, I said, I hate this teacher at one point. And I was like, and looking back, I was like, no, I do not. He was an incredible, incredible teacher. And I was just tired of it at the point. We put it up for like 2 or 3 years before I pulled it back out. And that's actually where I pulled it out myself. I started learning about it myself. I incorporated it into my school kind of myself. I had my own desire to do it. And this was even before we went to that concert that I was mentioning earlier. But I mean, that's actually where I wrote my first ever song as well. Yeah. So kind of wrote that out of, it was just a course that I came up with. So that's kind of how I feel like I didn't really have a musical bone in my body up until I was about the age of 13. And then when I got my first guitar for Christmas, I think that year, that's when things started to build. I had been playing keyboard before then, but music in me kind of like was really installed or like placed upon me. I could feel by the Lord when I was probably about the age of 13. So from about I'm 16 now. So for probably the past 3 or 4 years. Probably past 3 or 4 years. To get back to the question.
That's really awesome.
Yeah.
Well, are you willing to use the God-given gifts to glorify Him?
Yeah.
And are you willing to do what it takes?
Yeah, I want to say yes, absolutely yes, all the time. Of course, like I've been saying, I do worship songwriting stuff. It's my heart with music it's for God. It's not for man. Like it all goes back to Him. All the glory goes back to Him. Every word I write in my songs, every ounce that's within me, if it's musically, I want to go back to Him because, like for me, I feel like music is just more than, this could just literally just personally be me, but I feel like music, it just goes deeper than like a song that we let come out of our mouths. I feel like it has power. Like when we sing things, when we declare things with our mouth, even if it's just singing a song for fun, it has power in it, in my opinion at least, and especially when we're lifting up songs of praise to the Lord, that has so much power in it, and I want to be able to give that back to Him. So to answer that question, I definitely would say yes. I want to be able to do it, and at pretty much any cost that it would take to be able to do that. So
it's really awesome.
Yeah. So as you mentioned that we're not all perfect.
Yes.
So do you think your relationship with God is good right now, or you think you can strengthen it?
It's funny you mentioned that, actually, because this past week I have felt like I've run into a train wreck with my relationship with God. Like, you know how you hit points in life to where it's just like, oh yeah, I'm on the mountain and I'm so good, I'm so spiritual right now, I prayed 2 hours today, and then the next week you're like, I'm doing very good to get 5 minutes of prayer in, and I didn't feel anything at all this morning or whatever time you're praying. That's kind of been one of those weeks with me. I've been in a place where I've kind of just been emotionally off this week. I'm not sure what it is, and when I'm emotionally off, I'm spiritually off, is what it feels like sometimes. So I definitely think I could continue to grow. There's probably stuff in my life, not bad stuff, but just stuff that's taken up my time right now. That I could definitely feel like, okay, I could probably sacrifice that and put more time with God in with that to replace that time to be able to strengthen my relationship with Him. So, yeah, I think so. I think I could definitely grow. Definitely could grow.
That's awesome. I think no matter if you are even the lead pastor of a church,
absolutely,
you can always grow with God.
Absolutely.
You can never stop.
Yes, whether you are 2 years old, whether you are 92 years old, like there's so much of God we don't know, and we just won't know until we get to heaven. Like there's always more we can find in His Word. There's always more that we can search for, always more that we can praise Him for. So it's incredible. Yeah. It really is.
That's awesome. Well, Alex, I heard that you were dropping your second album.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Well, I will definitely encourage the viewers to go check out Alex Chapin.
Hey, thank you.
You're on Instagram.
Oh yeah, on Instagram, Alex Chapin Music, all one word. If they want to go follow me there, I think I'm on YouTube as well, same handle. So if anybody wants to check it out, it's coming out September 20th, I believe it is. It's got 7 songs on it total. A couple of them have already been released, but we have some more new ones that are coming as well.
That's really awesome.
Yeah.
From probably the time that I had really first met you, I looked up your music immediately.
Yeah.
And I love it.
That's so
I mean,
awesome.
there is times where I'm driving down I-10, cranked up with Alex Chapin
so
at
awesome.
about 100%.
That's so great.
And one of the neatest things is I've even had a couple people have asked me, who is it?
Really?
Yes. And I'm
Really?
more than willing to tell them.
No way.
I actually showed him the first time I had heard about it.
Yeah.
But I really do love your music. I think
so
it's
great.
awesome. And I wanted the viewers to be able to go listen to
Well,
you.
I appreciate any and all streams that come from it. It's all glory to God with that stuff, and it's still a learning process, a huge major learning process. I feel like this latest album, this second album, I guess I've only had 2. This next one has been so much more better. It's better written. It's better produced. It sounds so much better. Like when my first album, like I was just getting the song, like producing under my belt. I was just getting songwriting under my belt. Like I've had even more experience under me at this point, and I know when I'm listening to this probably 5 years down the road, I'll be like, dude, that album was not nearly as good as this 5th or 6th one is. But I mean, we're obviously progressing, and this one I feel like is at least 10 times better. So
That's great.
yes, in my opinion.
So you can listen to it on Apple Music, Spotify, and wherever else you listen to music, YouTube
That's
Music, wherever it is.
Yes, that's
so, go check out Alex. He's wonderful.
Come on.
But one of the questions that I want to ask is, what do you want the people at home or anybody that's listening to this get from this and your testimony and your calling?
Ooh, what do I want people to get from this? You know, there's something important that I've really started to discern recently here in my walk with the Lord, and I've started to hear more recently as well. And if I could just tell people one thing right now, it's in our world that Christianity and following Jesus is more of a relationship than it will ever be religion. Religion is a set of rules that are meant to be followed to try and help us get closer to a God or something like that in all of the world religions. And obviously there are rules that we need to keep in following Christianity. You want to be moral, you want to be pure, and obviously Jesus paid our price on the cross, and we want to honor him so much with that. But there's nothing we can really do to repay it. Not necessarily, but we can always obviously try and live our best, and we want to for that. And so focus on viewing Christianity and your walk with Jesus is a relationship versus a religion, because he wants to be with you. It's not just that you have to try and strive to get closer to him, because in all honesty, what I've come to discover in life is that more times than often, he's always trying to come after me more times than I'm trying to even go after him. So he's always trying to chase you down, and every time he wants to meet you, you can meet him. And there is not enough wrong that you haven't done. If you're willing to turn to him, then he will open his heart to be able to accept you as well. And keep going. There will be hard days. So many hard days. Like I was just saying, this past week, it's been super hard for me. But if you press through and you keep going and surround yourself, you have to surround yourself with a community of people. If you're not plugged in at a church, find a good church and get plugged in with them there, or a small group or something like that. Because Christianity is, one, it's a relationship with God more than it is a religion, but two, it has to be done with a community. Like if you try and do Christianity alone, it's brutally hard. So that's probably something I would say for anyone who's watching today.
That's really awesome. I always want people to know about Jesus.
Absolutely.
That was the reason why I started the podcast, and so that people can understand that Jesus is more than a curse word, as some people may know.
Yeah.
He's more than just a fictionary Bible character that you may learn at Sunday school in church, or that he is saving people. He is calling people. That's why I wanted this series to be first, is because once you get to really know him, He's going to put a calling on your life.
Oh, yeah.
And that is 100% up to you if you're going to accept it or decline it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
One of the things that I like to finish this podcast with is, why did you want to be on here?
Why did I want to be on the podcast? Well, this is my first ever podcast, and I thought it would be absolutely fun because you guys are amazing. I love getting to hang out with you, and I was like, yes! As soon as he sent the text, I was like, yes, I go get to hang out with my friends and do a podcast at the same time about Jesus. So that's probably one of the reasons that's probably one of the biggest reasons why I wanted to be on here today. So
I appreciate it, Alex.
Oh, yeah.
It's definitely been a joy having you on here as we conclude today. Thank you for sharing about Jesus.
Oh, yeah.
And thank y'all for listening, and y'all have a wonderful, blessed day.